Welcome to the show today, guys. This is Hoops. Joining me is my co host, Paul Harris. We're going to be covering some round one boys basketball playoff coverage and, of course, the results of the regional semifinals for the girls. How you feeling today, man?
Cold. That's why I got the numerous hoodies and sweaters on right now.
Yeah, it's not exactly pleasant outside. Winter is, hanging on with everything in its power before spring hits us. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it. But before we do, let's hear a quick word from our title sponsor, Whataburger.
Ah, yes. Whataburger's Honey Barbecue Chicken Strip Sandwich. It's just so, you know, it's almost too hard to put into words. The Honey Barbecue Chicken Strip Sandwich from Whataburger. Just like you like it.
Welcome back, and let's go ahead and get right into it. The boys basketball playoffs started last night, and we had a pretty monumentous achievement. The Lakeview boys, they win their first playoff game in 26 years. Let's hear about it, Paul.
Yeah, they went up to Abilene, beat Stephenville 77-65. They played great from start to finish, really. Huge second quarter. They scored 26 points to take control, and they were up by double digits a lot of the second half, Had four guys score in double digits, led by Joseph Delgado with 19. And, I think we knew this Lakeview team was a little different this year. Mm-hmm. They were challenging for possibly even the 2 seed in that district, but they finished in third place, had a great district run, and it was great to see them not only make the playoffs, but to win the first playoff game since 1999. Really an awesome moment for the Chiefs last night.
Well, and on paper, you see this matchup in any other sport, and you start groaning a little bit just because of who Stephenville is, right? But that did not stop Lakeview. They showed up. They obviously had a good game plan because it seems like their defense was effective. They took the lead early and they just never really gave it up, right?
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Blisky earlier, and he said that was really what saved them more than anything was the defense. They just played so well, on the defensive end. And then, of course, they are dangerous. They do have a lot of offensive options, And so the big thing now is for them to not just get complacent and just be, just satisfied with this. That see if they can, continue making history. I don't know when the last time they won a second-round playoff game was. It's a tough matchup with Decatur, who knocked out
Estacado last year.
Yeah, that speaks to the quality of their program. But, a great moment for Lakeview, and it's all gravy from here. See what can happen.
Yeah, so that matchup is going to be a tough one for the Chiefs. But, say what you want. Congratulations. Like overcoming like a drought like that is always special for a program. And it's really something that Blisky can build on in the future. And, hey, we might see another upset this weekend. But moving on from that, I was in Fort Stockton yesterday. I was covering a team from the South Plains and from here in San Angelo. It was the Central Bobcats versus the El Paso Eastwood Troopers. Now, Eastwood has had Central's number over the last couple of years in multiple sports, and it was no different yesterday. Eastwood would go on to beat Central in this one 57-51 in a real back-and-forth defensive battle. It seemed like Central just had a really off shooting day because they played better defense than Eastwood did the entire game. They forced multiple turnovers. They grabbed a bunch of steals. They won on the boards, but they couldn't hit a shot, And when your outside shooters are just cold, it really falls on your guys on the inside to dominate. And they did. TK Taylor led all scores with 22 points yesterday. I know Jax Olsen, he either had 8 or 10 points, but he was a monster on the boards. It really came down to not being able to stop one particular player on Eastwood's side. I think he finished with over 30 points. I think he had 35 actually, but the 3-point shot would not fall. I don't think Central made the first 3-pointer until late in the third quarter. Ian McNeil, a usually great 3-point shooter, hit that in the third, and then, of course, Squeaky English. He ended up hitting a couple threes, but they weren't until the fourth quarter when Central needed to take that lead. So the Bobcats fall. It was an unfortunate day. It goes back to how important that playoff seeding is. Maybe if they're not a 3 seed and they're a 2 seed instead, they get a little bit easier matchup. But it was a great game overall and a great season for the Bobcats.
Yeah, without that big inside presence that they had last year with Colin, is that it, Colin Albright?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, so they kind of live by the 3, die by the 3 this year. You know, when they're on, man, they're such a dangerous team. They faded a little bit down the stretch. I was hoping that they would kind of still salvage it with the win in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't meant to be for the Bobcats down the stretch this season.
Well, and not having Trey Allen really hurt them. Like he hurt his ankle, a few weeks back, and it just never really got better. Right? It was wrapped up, and he was basically using one of those scooter crutches on the sideline. So like you lose not only one of your dynamic outside shooters, but just another option to take the ball up the court to deal with the full court press. So other guys are getting playing time. So that definitely hurt. But most all these guys are coming back. You're going to get TK back. You're going to get Trey Allen back. I know Squeak is graduating, but like Coach Sheeter has a lot to work with this offseason, and I definitely think the Bobcats are going to basically just reload it and try again. But finally, we are going to move into our final 2 games that we covered. In the early game in Fort Stockton, I covered the Friendship Tigers playing El Paso Coronado. That game was not close. Coronado had to win a 4th-place tiebreaker to play in to basically get into the playoffs. And it was kind of evident from the get-go. Friendship dominated that one throughout the contest. They ended up winning that one 66-31, but the Thunderbirds didn't even score 9 points, more than 9 points past the second quarter, So Friendship's defense absolutely smothered them. They completely dominated on the boards. They dominated free throw shooting. Basically, they could do no wrong, right? So Friendship claims an easy one on that one, but let's go ahead and get to the final game. It had an incredibly exciting ending. It was a first-round playoff matchup that was basically a rivalry game. It was Miles versus Cristobal. Paul, go.
Yeah, the 4th time they've played this year, which is pretty unique to play that many times, especially considering they weren't even in the same district. I guess they just kept running into each other in tournaments. But, close games, a 2-point game, a 7-point game, and so you kind of anticipated it was going to be a good game. Cristobal is in control, really a lot of the second half. They're up by 11 points early in the 4th quarter, and they're still up by 8 with about 2 minutes to go, and then Miles just storms back. I mean, just incredible, relentless drive by them on offense and defense to get back into it, some big shots, and then, they take the lead with 19 seconds left. Then Cristobal looks like they may steal it. Ethan Bush gets a layup with about 8 seconds to play. Cristobal's back on top by 1. Then Cooper Ellison, Miles has no timeouts. They have to just fly back down the court. Cooper Ellison, he's fouled with 0.6 seconds remaining, and he's just cool as can be at the line. Swished both free throws with the place going crazy, and Miles just celebrating one of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen. Down 11 in the 4th quarter to come back. I mean, that was really incredible. And heartbreaking loss for Cristobal. They just weren't able to put Miles away, Mm-hmm. So I really think either one of these teams, could be a dangerous playoff team. But Miles, they have high expectations, and I mean they've got some really good players. Cooper Ellison finished with 24. Ethan James had 20. Veteran coach, and so maybe after this, surviving this, we'll see what they can do moving forward. They definitely got a lot of momentum now.
Well, yeah, congratulations to the Miles Bulldogs. Cristobal's been a little bit of a weird team this year. It's like at some point you think they're a dangerous threat, and then at other points it's like they're not playing up to that same level. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it last night or if it's just a rivalry game, so you're going to keep it close no matter what. But shout out to Cooper Ellison, man. Ice in his veins. To be on the line in that situation with no time on the clock, and it's like, all right, if you make this, you win. If you miss it, you lose. Let's see what you got. So shout out to him. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the girls' side of things. There was a bunch of regional semifinal matchups yesterday and Monday, rather. This is being filmed on a Wednesday, so some of these matchups in the future, when we talk about Thursday games, they'll already be final. But for the Monday and Tuesday games, in 6A, Friendship flattened Denton Guyer. No one saw that one coming. That was number 13 versus number 10. Friendship was number 13. They flattened Denton Guyer 71-46. In 5A, Leah Chavez and the Monterey Lady Plainsmen take care of Brewers 76-40. The Jim Ned girls in 3A beat the defending champion Shallowater Phillies 56-49. Moving down to 3A D2, Idalou beat Toller 41-31. In 2A D1, Ozona beats New Deal 47-37. I really wish I was at that game. I heard that one was really good. Panhandle defeated Ballinger 85-16, which, let's go ahead and just pause real quick. Awesome season for the Lady Bearcats. They just ran into an absolute meat grinder that was the number 2 Panhandle. But yeah, they lose that one 85-16. In 2A, San Saba beat Danbury 94-43. Farwell downs Cristoval 50-47. Paul, give me your thoughts on Farwell Cristoval in that matchup, because the Lady Cougars almost had it. It's like they always get to this point against this Farwell squad.
Yeah, they lost to him by, I believe, 23 when they played earlier this year at a tournament. So they knew they had a huge challenge ahead of them. Farwell, number 3 in the state, into their season last year. And, I mean, Cristoval had them down 6 in the fourth quarter, so incredible effort just to get to that point. But, Farwell showed its pedigree, come back with a big run, and steal the win 50-47. So tough for Cristoval to lose to them again. That's now 4 times in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. But they showed they could beat them. Now, unfortunately, they're going to lose a great player like Hallie Hughes and Madison George as well, But, great showing by Cristoval, almost back-to-back wins over top 5 teams.
Well, it seems like Cristoval keeps growing, so maybe they'll get a couple more athletes out there in the future. Moving on from that, though, Mason beat Bremen 54-53. That one was a good one. Down to the 1A, Eula beat Garden City 54-44. I heard that one was a pretty good one, too. Hermle beat Water Valley 69-22. It's a tough matchup there for the Lady Wildcats. Arion County beat Aspermont 60-30. The Lady Hornets look very dangerous this year. I could definitely see them making it back to the state tournament. And finally, Jayton beat Blackwell 49-36. So that was all of the Monday and Tuesday games. Paul, just give me your overall thoughts from what has been the girls' playoffs so far, and what games do you still what teams do you still want to see before it's all over?
Well, I mean, I saw Arion County in Coleman on Monday versus Aspermont, and man, they looked so good. Great balance in offense, and defense is about as clean of a defensive performance as I've seen.
Well, they're tall. It's their size, right?
Yeah, they are tall. They didn't allow a shot from the floor until in the second quarter. I mean, this is in the regional semifinals. Mm-hmm. I mean, just so they just really had that look. Coming out of a district with Garden City. They've been tested, So, and they got Coach Don Cafel's coaching them now. So there's something about that team. I really feel like they could be in the state, in the state in San Antonio here in a couple weeks. Yeah. And so I guess sure Mason and we got them down there in Region 4 with Mason and San Saba. Just don't know a lot about them. Haven't seen them. And Goldthwaite, a lot of good tradition out there with all those teams. So, and then Ozona, I think, again, awesome job by them, making it to the regional final, some tough wins. Jerry McSherry out there, he's got about 650 career wins, and Kellen Gass, what a player she is, and Avery Davidson. So, Ozona's, they got to go up against that juggernaut Panhandle now. That may be the end of the road for them, but incredible job by them getting to this point with three playoff wins.
Although Cristoval almost beat Farwell. You never say never, right?
Never say never, man, especially with this group and Coach McSherry back there. All
right, well, go ahead and run through the remaining schedule for the regional finals.
All right, yeah, here's the regional finals. We've got Friendship taking on Fort Worth Boswell. I believe they're number 2 in the state, we're saying. That's a Thursday. We got Monterey and Argyle, 1 o'clock, and Abilene Christian. Jim Ned and Dalhart, that's going to be a great game. 6 o'clock Friday, Lubbock Cooper Liberty. Like we said, Ozona Panhandle, that'll be 6 o'clock Thursday in Post. San Saba's taking on Flatonia, 6:30 Friday, Georgetown Eastview. We got Mason and Goldthwaite, a long-time rivalry there, 6:30 Friday, Cedar Park with huge stakes. And then Arion County girls taking on Jayton, 6 o'clock Thursday at Howard College in Big Spring.
Man, that's a loaded schedule, and we are getting to the point in the playoffs where it's like only good teams are left, right? So that Friendship Boswell game should be very interesting. Boswell ranked number 2, Friendship ranked number 13, but Friendship just beat their last opponent by 25, and that was a number 13 versus number 10 matchup. So it's one of those you never know, but now you're getting to the Metroplex schools that really know how to play. But I'm looking forward to most of that Monterey Argyle game. I think that as much as Aaliyah Chavez has done for Monterey and her community and her legacy as a high school basketball player, I think making it to the actual state tournament in her senior year, possibly bringing home state championship for the Lady Plainsmen would mean so much to kind of cement her as one of the best women's basketball players that's ever come out of the state of Texas. But she still hasn't decided on a school that she's going to play at in college, and so I'm assuming she's still just having fun playing her last round of or set of games, I guess, in high school basketball before she makes that decision. But it's the other supporting cast on that Lady Plainsman team that's going to have to really put them at the next level, because you start doubling and tripling Leah Chavez every time, it's going to leave open shots for other people. So I don't know, man. Other than the Ozona Panhandle game, do you see any other game that just jumps out to you? That Jim Ned girls team looks dangerous, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they sure do. I mean, and they just steamrolled that district. Even Wall really didn't give them much competition. They've only lost one game all year. They just got through defending state champion Shallow Water. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if they're headed to a state championship.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is we might have a couple West Texas schools in the state tournament this year. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the by-district boys round. But before we do that, let's hear a quick word from Jim Bass Ford.
It's time. It's Truck Month at Jim Bass Ford. So it's time for you to save thousands, like $6,000 off a new 24 Ford Bronco.
Are you serious?
I'm real serious. Get $6,000 off a new Ford Bronco. But this won't last forever. Hurry down to Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart and Arden Road, or 24/7 at BassBots.com.
Now, on to the by-district round for the boys. Of course, the boys basketball playoff started on Monday this week, and we have basically all the scores for the South Plains and the Concho Valley here. I'll just jump right into it. My 6A Central Bobcats fell to El Paso Eastwood 67-61 in Fort Stockton yesterday. Friendship, of course, in the early game beats El Paso Coronado 66-31. Big surprise here and a huge win for Lubbock Cooper, but the Lubbock Cooper Pirates beat Abilene Wiley 62-50. Down in the 4A, Lubbock Estacado completely destroyed Graham 75-38. That's a team I don't see being stopped until state. It seems like they get better and better every week. Whatever that they're building out there at Estacado seems to keep getting better year after year. They ended up losing to Decatur last year, but I don't see them losing that game this year if they meet up again. Of course, San Angelo Lakeview wins their first playoff game in 26 years. They beat Stephenville 77-65. In 3A, Jim Ned beats Ingram Moore 48-34. Shallow Water beats Dalhart 57-50. Sweetwater takes care of Comfort 64-48. Clyde beat Brady. Coach V out there with the Bulldogs, former Central Bobcats head coach, 47-38. They lose that one to Clyde. And in a surprising matchup, Blanco, as the lower seed, beats Wall 36-34. You want to talk about a game where the shots would not fall for the Wall Hawks. I was at that game. I drove a couple hours to watch the boys play out there, and they could not buy a shot. It's like if it wasn't inside, it wasn't going in. It wasn't until the fourth quarter when Lane Stansberry really took over the game did Wall even get back into it. At one point, they were losing by 12, right? And in a 36-34 game, that means that at halftime, I think Wall had 14 points. That's very, very rare to see on the boys' side, especially from a program with the caliber of the Wall Hawks. But they lose in that one. It's going to be a very tough learning experience for them, but they need it. They don't have very many seniors on that team. Bunch of sophomores. But, yeah, they lose that one 36-34. Bushland beat Littlefield at the buzzer yesterday. 41-39, and to wrap up 3A, Childress beat Idalou 59-57. Same similar matchup. Wish I was at that game, but too bad for Idalou there.
There's a lot of great games here, actually. A lot of
Yeah.
good scores. So moving down to the small schools, we got 2A here. Abernathy edged Hale Center 51-49. Junction Eagles are having a good season, just right off the great football season they had. They beat Falls City 49-43. Ropes beat Wink 69-45. Floydada took down Farwell 65-55. And Whiteface knocked out Fort Hancock 64-24.
One of the few blowouts here.
Oh, my. New home triple digits, 101-31 over Lockney. Reagan County, one of our teams with a ton of potential. If they've got it going right, they beat Coleman 64-32. Forsan knocked out my Ballinger Bearcats 49-45. I was hoping Ballinger might be able to get that one. Brownfield took down Kermit 82-29. We talked about that great Miles Christoval game. Miles won 66-65. And Roscoe, another one-point game. They beat Sonora 44-43. Roscoe really ran away with the district title. Did not see Sonora giving them that much of a fight. Sonora led a lot of that game and got edged, at the very end there. So great job by the Broncos. And then in 1A, we got Jayton with an 88-34 win over Knox City.
That is another team that I don't see losing at all. I think
No.
that's your future state champion right there.
They've been crazy impressive, and they've taken on all kinds of teams in non-district and have had no trouble.
I think at some point, well, I know for a fact that they've beaten 3 and 4A teams this year, but they played Lubbock Estacado well. Let's just put it
Wow.
that way.
That's really saying something. A few more matchups. Garden City beat Paint Rock 77-38. A good season by Paint Rock, with the runner-up finishing their district. Water Valley, late start to the year because of football, but they cruised past Menard 58-20. Erie County beat Lone 77-16, and then Robert Lee 65-22 over Rochelle.
It's a lot of games, guys, and we've been trying to get to as many as possible, but overall thoughts of the by-district round, I think some of the teams that were supposed to win did. The teams that were supposed to lose lost. A couple upsets. Like I do think that Miles Christoval won. Like, say what you want, but I do feel like that Christoval had the capability to play a little bit better yesterday. But other than that, huge win for Lubbock Cooper. I want to give them another shout-out. I don't know. What stands out to you in the by-district round, Paul?
Well, for one, just a lot of really good games. Some seasons were cut short a little earlier than I expected with Wall really kind of jumping out there. It's kind of tough for them. Lane Stansbury was just this great addition to them midway through district play, but at the same time, it did maybe affect not in a negative way. I'm just saying you're still trying to learn to play together. And as great of a player as he is, they just never got it going. They had a late start because of football, and then, Stansbury not joining until the last, 7 to 8 games of the year.
Yeah, well, and like I said, several sophomores on that roster.
Yeah, definitely a bright future. Tough. I think they could have gone a little farther. And just like I said, a lot of really close games, and then some of them are just lopsided matchups and blowouts. But a lot of promise with some of the boys teams moving forward.
All right, well, let's go ahead and head into that area round playoff schedule. Paul, you start us off this time.
All right, so we got Friendship and South Lake Carroll playing 8 o'clock Friday in Abilene Wiley.
Rematch from the football season. Let's see if Friendship can revenge their loss to South Lake.
Yeah, a lot of name power that matchup. We got Estacado and Burke Burnett playing on Friday. Still to be determined where that's going to be. Lakeview Chiefs, they're playing Decatur 6 o'clock Friday at Abilene High. Moving over to 3A, we got Jim Ned and Peaster 6 o'clock Friday Breckenridge. Shallow Water is playing Iowa Park 7:30 Friday Haskell. And I'm sorry, did I say Shallow Water?
Yeah,
Sweetwater. Sweetwater is playing Iowa Park 7:30 Friday Haskell.
Maybe I should have split them up and put Jim Ned in between them.
Yeah, maybe so. And then Shallow Water and Presidio meeting out in Monaghan 6 o'clock on Friday.
All right, into the 2A matchups. We got Reagan County versus Plains, 7 p.m. on Friday at Midland Christian. Junction versus Agua Dulce, or Spanish Sweetwater, 6:30 on Friday in Devine. We got Abernathy versus Spearman. Now Abernathy barely edged out Hale Center in what was a great game earlier in the week. That one could have gone either way, but that one's Friday at 6:30. Forsan versus Ropes, 8 p.m. Friday in Lamesa. New Home versus Quanah. That one's going to be at 6 o'clock on Thursday in Haskell. Roscoe versus Morton on Thursday. That one's going to be 6:30 in Lamesa. Floydada versus Groover, 6:30 Thursday in Bushland. Number 5, Brownfield is taking on Bushland. They don't get to play at home. This is the playoffs. They're playing 7:30 p.m. Friday. The location on that one is still to be determined. Miles versus Whiteface. That one's going to be 7 p.m. Friday in Snyder. Down to the 1A, we got Jayton versus Gordon. You want to talk about two powerhouses meeting early, second round of the playoffs. That one's going to be on Thursday. No info on the location on that one. Water Valley versus Buena Vista. That's going to be 6 p.m. Friday. Howard College in Big Spring. Garden City is playing Rankin on Friday at 7 p.m. in Midland. That one's going to be at Greenwood High School. Erie County versus Balmorhea, 6 p.m. on Friday in Rankin. And finally, Robert Lee versus Sanderson. That one's going to be Thursday at Ozona. Sanderson won their matchup in Fort Stockton yesterday. They were the game right after the Bobcats. I was watching them a little bit when I was typing up the game. They're pretty good, man. Like, I don't know much about them, but they were taking care of business. But yeah, that's the area around schedule. Like, we are right in the thick of it for the basketball playoffs. This is probably going to be our most content-heavy show. Headed into next week, that's when we really start seeing some of the teams get whittled out. We start losing teams from our area, but it's going to be good, you know. But of course, part of every show, we have to give shout-outs to two specific players that really just showed out this week. But before that, let's hear a quick word from Carpet Tech.
When I was at work and my daughter called and said, "Mom, there's water in the basement."
There was quite a bit of water in our carpet.
There's water coming out your front door.
And I saw water coming out of the garage closet.
I called Carpet Tech.
I really felt like I was being treated professionally and personally and friendly.
They came in, they said, "Don't worry about this. We're going to get it taken care of."
I think what matters the most to me is that I feel comfortable and that I can trust them.
Okay, so our Carpet Tech Concho Valley Player of the Week this week is Cooper Ellison for the Miles Bulldogs. He had 24 points in the win over their rival Cristoval. Paul, go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you got the entire season on your shoulders at the free throw line, I mean, I don't know that I would be able to come through in a situation like that, you know.
In his veins.
You know, when Coach Gerald Butts after the game, he said there's nobody in the gym that I would want at the line more than Cooper Ellison because he's just money. And he was, man. He was just clutch and cool, knocked down both of them, you know. And he'd already had such a great game keeping them alive, you know, with the defense and some big threes, big shots. And then so, you know, of course the ball's it's in his hands, and that's who you want at the line. And so, I mean, if anybody ever earned the Player of the Week, it was Cooper Ellison last night.
Right. Yeah, congratulations, Cooper, and good luck this weekend. Moving on to the South Plains Player of the Week, we're going to go with the Friendship Tiger. It's going to be Patton Pinkins. He was a dominant force in the win over El Paso Coronado. He led the team in rebounds. He's one of the top free throw shooters in the nation. I think he's shooting about 97% right now. I think it's like 96.5%. He did miss one yesterday. He took 9 free throws and he took 10 free throws and he made 9 of them. But still, 90% is a good day, right? But he finished with 28 points. He is the heart and soul of that team. As he goes, so do the Tigers most of the time. And I know Chase Campbell is a real big contributor. So is Davis up there. But of course, the Ole Miss commit, he's going to go play for Coach Beard next year. And so it's almost a travesty that this is the first time he's making our list, but he is really like I said, the heart and soul of the Friendship Tigers, and they're going to need him going forward if they want to make a deep playoff run. So congratulations, Patton, and good luck this weekend. Now, final thoughts, Paul. Just what are you looking forward to? Just I don't know. Just give me something. Let's go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah, you know what? I'd like to see one of our girls' teams really break through. You know, and I think Erie County may be our best chance. But any of these girls' teams, you know, we've had a lot of playoff success, some good wins. Would love to see one of them break through and make it to San Antonio.
All right, I'm going to talk about a particular Central Bobcat, one that truly gives his heart and soul on every single time he steps on the court, whether it be the court, the football field, steps on the track, and that's Christian English. Like he puts a lot of every loss on himself, being the quarterback and really being one of the quarterbacks on the basketball court too. He took that loss pretty hard yesterday. Saw a lot of emotion after the game because I know he feels like that was. He could have done more, but I just want to give a shout out to him and say, without his performance and his athletic ability and his leadership, the Central Bobcats wouldn't be what they are. I wish the young man all the luck in the future. I know he still hasn't decided on a college. He's probably going to go play football somewhere. I know he has a couple offers. I know he has one from Sul Ross State. I know he had a visit with Angelo State, and he probably has a couple more coming in, but hey, man, it's been a pleasure watching you play basketball, and I look forward to seeing more of what you do in the future. That's part one. Part two, my Texas Tech Red Raiders lost to TCU last night in an absolute travesty where they were outshot in free throws 30-9. So, not saying the Big 12 has a ref problem, but the Big 12 might have a ref problem. But Castlein, get your guys together. That's it for me.
I'm not going to talk about the Texas Longhorns. We'll just leave it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been Hoops this week, our playoff edition, moving into the regional finals for the girls and their area round for the boys. I'm Ryan Chadwick. This is my co-host, Paul Harris. We'll see you next time.